Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're going to be continuing using the August kit from Scrapbooking with Me. And we're going to be using this Operation Write Home sketch. And I like this one because it was a lot of different layers again, and yet it could be really simple and a pretty card, and you can use this for so many different occasions. So you can pause here, get all your measurements, and then join me at the table, okay? So we're going to be using a A2 size card. It's going to be on the side fold, and I'm placing the sentiment and all my other pieces off to the side, and we're going to start with our base. So the matte paper, the black, is going to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and we're going to go ahead. I'm putting the ATG tape and some art glitter glue to give me a little bit of wiggle room time. Now I will suggest this too, because you'll see here, if you press it down, even if you use the wet glue, it's kind of like a wrap, okay? So the key would be to lay it down. If it's not even, lift it right back up and then move it where you need it to go. Because once you've laid it down and you press, it's pretty much, it's in lock. It's done. So we're using, it's a 6x8 paper pad. So what I do is, for my base papers, I cut it in half so it's 4 by 6, and then I just trim the 6-inch side down to 5 1/4, and that creates my base paper. And then on this piece here, they had it 5 by, I think it's 2 3/4. And then we're just going to cut right down the middle as even as we can, and then up from each side to create our banner. And we're going to attach that basically right there. And then you can do a layer for this as well if you wanted to. I didn't want to do a layer with it because I didn't want it to cover up the entire background. You know, I wanted to be able to see a little bit more of it, so that's why I just left this one kind of as plain as possible. Just a little bit of an accent, doesn't really need to stand out. It can kind of fade, even though I don't know how much these stripes are going to fade, but you'll understand what I'm saying as we go. So for the stripe here, they have it 2 by 4 inches, and then they did a mat 1/4 inch big. So if it's 2 by 4, they did their mat 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. But here's the thing, I didn't want the top of each, the top and the bottom, to have any of the mat. So I just did 1/8 of an inch. So I did mine 2 by 4, and then the mat was 2 1/8 by 4. So it stays the same length, and you just get a nice little border on each side of the strip, and then it lines right up to where the mat for the base is. So it's almost like it has a mat without you having to put one on. Make sense? All right, so now that we got to this point here, I wanted to stamp the inside, and I wanted to use the ink pad that came with the kit, and this is the Delicata, the rose gold. And so what I'm gonna do, and I had to, you know, make an effort beforehand to do this early, because I have a tendency, I do all my cards here, you know, on video and stuff, and then a lot of times I don't even think about the inside, and then when I need a card, I'm like, oh, I should have put something on the inside. So I wanted to show you guys, start incorporating the insides of the cards as well. So I'm just going to stamp here. It says, best wishes on your birthday and throughout the coming year. And since Delicata is like a pigment ink, I grabbed my clear embossing powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on, and then give it a quick heat tool. And of course, you always got to hit it, right? So that there's embossing powder all over the place. Well, I have the Nuvo large brush. I think it's like the Sweep or whatever. It's an amazing brush. If you don't have one, go get one, because it helps so often with the embossing powder. Because let me tell you, there are times where you make spills. Okay, so I'm heating up my heat tool, trying to like kind of move it around on my hand to see the feel, how it gets, you know, heated up, and then we're just going to melt that. Now I will say this, because it's obviously on your cardstock, you do run the risk of it warping. So you'll see me here in a second. I'm going to be like kind of playing and remolding it, trying to get it back to its as straight as possible. You can always put it underneath some papers, or you could run it through like your die machine without any dies, of course. Just put the plates on it to kind of straighten it up. If you're worried about the warping, then just get a separate piece of paper, stamp on it, do your embossing, and then tape it down to the card base itself. And then you should be okay. So now, once we're at this point, I'm going to go ahead and start finishing this up. I took one of the cut aparts and I trimmed it down to be as close to the 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 that they have on the sketch itself. I still think it turned out good. It's a little bit thinner, you know, than it probably needed to be. I could have kept it a little bit wider, but I wanted to try and get it as close to the actual measurements as possible. And then to finish off the card, I grabbed Nuvo glitter. Hold on. Because I realized that the cupcake has pink and it has the rose gold, but I really didn't have any pink on the rest of the card. So, oh, there. I just did a little boo-boo with my Nuvo drops. And I just add a little bit more, and we're just going to keep it going. But I figured this would be a good way to add some more pink. And then I'm slamming it up against my mat here, so that way I can get it to spread out and look like more like an actual enamel dot. All right. And that is it. That's the end of the card. And I really like how this one turned out. And you could do so many different colors. I probably could have done black on the side. I could have done the white ones on the side. Either way, do what makes you feel happy. You know what I mean? And I think I'm trying to bring in, yeah. This was the first one I made off camera. And then the one that we just did at the same time. So thankfully, oh, I'm sharing here that stamp I showed you where I got the inside of the card. I actually just got another one because I had one before and I lost that stamp in the big birthday. So thankfully, Simon Says Stamp, I was able to get the replacement one, and that way I can use that inside stamp and that really pretty birthday again. So thankfully I was able to do that. So thank you guys so much. Here are close-ups of the finished cards. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And as you guys are watching the video, if you go down into the more section, I will have links to scrapbookingwithme.com, and if you go on there and purchase, make sure you use my coupon code TT15. That lets them know that you got there through watching one of my videos, and it's a way for us to be able to track it, and you save 15%. Win-win, right? All right, so thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.